What I often see happening is people start to experience a little bit of emotional intimacy and they don't double check to make sure we're ready to go to the next level, and they end up totally crashing and burning because they wanted to go for it. But Maurice, I'm ready. Are you ready? Or you just are craving it? Well, I'm sick and tired of not having it, therefore I'm ready. That's how you check to see if you're ready? Have you checked to see if she's ready? Maurice, it's not about whether or not my wife is ready. She's been dragging her feet enough. We're going there and she's coming with me whether she likes it or not. That's a really bad idea. You cannot pursue psychological, spiritual, and physical intimacy prematurely, or you're going to be crashing and burning. Unfortunately, brethren, we live in a culture that asks questions that are completely pointless, useless, but sound important. These are the questions that I don't know what to call them, the modernists will ask. Am I sufficiently attracted to this person? Am I in love? Do we like the same things? And does this person meet my needs? Just like we were in high school, yeah, I want her to have a testimony, but she's got to be hot also. Now, I hope that you all engage a lot of your brain in this, but I'm going to try to make it a little easier for you by showing you some of the things that I have found that are actually necessary for a relationship to move forward. Now, you'll notice these are not condensed, these are detailed. Have I gathered enough information about this person so that I really know what I'm getting myself into to make a long-term commitment? Should I continue to gather information because it is premature to make a decision? Should we continue to work on verbal, cognitive, and emotional intimacy before making any commitment? Do you know enough about this person that you believe that they're going to be a good travel partner? Do they know enough about you, and have you shared enough information about you? Have I consulted God with an open and faithful mind as to whether or not I am expected by God to continue to fulfill this stewardship, or have I been released from this calling? This one's really important, especially if your logical brain has found some logical flaws in your partner. You need to know if you can do this, if you can stay in a state of charity while you're working with a woman who's injured, or it might be wise for you to do everyone a favor and say, I'm not ready to function as a husband to you. I should probably remove myself, either temporarily or permanently, if you can't find charity for her injuries. Would it be wise to give the other person more time to recover or solidify some of the things they need to work on, especially when observing how your weaknesses and pain points line up with theirs for development? If a bridge does not have a strong compensation or reinforcements in place of weaknesses, the whole bridge is going to fall into the river again. But also don't pretend that we're making progress. You just say, I think we should stay here and work on our verbal, our cognitive, and emotional intimacy more until it's strong enough to sustain us through the challenges that are coming. Am I prepared to commit to this person as they have been for the past 3 months, especially the behavior, thinking patterns, and emotions that I have not attempted to influence? What I see with this on a regular basis is men saying, I'm just hanging out here waiting for her. Has she been behaving in the last 3 months in such a way that you would want it to stay that way and you're willing to have it be that way for the next 3 years? If not, then don't declare that you're ready to make a long-term commitment. Don't make it sound like you're ready. It's important that you don't imply, hey babe, if you flipped a switch right now, I'd be ready to be committed to you. In the same way that a woman is allowed to have boundaries, I can only commit to you under the following conditions, we are allowed to have the same. There are many times when the wife is not ready to be a wife, just as much as the husband's not ready to be a husband. We have a woman who is keeping her boundaries, keeping herself safe, and then the husband really starts working on his stuff, really anchoring down so that he's got his connection with God, he's doing his deep parts, he's making line upon line improvement, and he starts demonstrating decent and respectful verbal intimacy, cognitive intimacy, emotional intimacy, and he's ready for an attempt at psychological intimacy, and she looks in the mirror and sees that she has not finished healing yet. And so one of the satanic tricks in that case is he'll start whispering to her, you're gonna get left behind. Your husband's making such great progress. He's gonna get sick of waiting for you. And because they are still injured and unhealed from psychological things, they can't participate in psychological intimacy. They're not ready to participate in spiritual intimacy, but because they have a girl body, they can throw their girl body on the table and say, well, let's just go straight to the bedroom. And I got guys who sometimes go, jackpot. We must be doing better than I thought. If we're gonna go jump right over the top of psychological and spiritual intimacy, I am ready. This is what I've been waiting for. Guys, this is where the vitalness of having tamed your sexual cravings through Men of Moroni training or some other training where you do not live by sexual experience alone. I do have, sadly, many men who define, I can tell when my marriage is going well because my wife is willing to be entertaining with me in the bedroom. Guys, no. One of the scariest things is when a woman starts to offer her body as a tribute to skipping intimacy steps. If you have worked hard together to create some verbal intimacy, cognitive and some emotional, and it leads together into some physical intimacy that seems a little early, I don't have a problem with that. It's when we're leapfrogging out of desperation. Maybe if we can just get to the bedroom, we can heal some of these spaces in between. Brethren, sex is not a healing agent. Sex is a balm, which is soothing and kind of comforts the soul if there's some cuts and bruises along the way, but it does not fix broken bones or cancer. That conversation takes a lot of practice because she's going to be very vulnerable if she offers a generous portion on the physical intimacy platter. Most of us don't have to worry about that because their natural instincts are to stay withdrawn, but I just want to make sure you're warned about that. Notwithstanding the substantial challenges that would come with being in a committed relationship with this person, am I prepared to put my whole self into it for a certain number of days, weeks, or months? When we reach that checkpoint, I can reevaluate. If you think about between now and last Sunday, as a husband, have you invested sufficient energy in your attempts at nurturing and healing this marriage? Have you taken enough risks? Have you put yourself in vulnerable positions? Have you gotten creative? Have you looked for ways to do it better next time? Have you read anything? Have you studied anything? Have you developed a plan to the point where you can actually take action on it just by overriding your fear or your concerns? Have you done enough so that God will say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have invested adequately in your marriage. You may rest until we work on it again." Or, as you look over the next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, would it be wise for you to rest enough to try something? Are you too burned out? Do you have more? Do you need to gather more energy? If you truly have nothing to give because of all of your hard work and giving so far, then say so. I give not because I have not. If I had, I would give. One of the things I deal with, like many of you, is I like to be productive and I like to push myself to the limit with my use of energy. And so especially on days like today, I'm doing a 13-hour shift with a 15-minute break. I already know that I'm going to be very depleted when I get off work. My wife and I have done a lot of strategizing. We do not try to have serious conversations on Thursday nights. But sometimes she forgets and there's something urgent, and that's a journey my brain isn't ready for. You've got to be skilled at pacing the conversation in an edifying fashion. You don't have to just be pulled into the conversation and dragged up the side of the mountain when you're not ready. It's my responsibility to make sure I can be physically, psychologically, and emotionally present on a regular basis. Wednesdays, I work a short day, so I do what I can to make sure that for at least 6 hours on Wednesdays, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk, I'm ready to do physical things, and I'm bringing some proactive ideas to it. Know when you have resources to engage and make sure you get them, and know when you don't, and lead by informing her about it.